We got last minute golfing gifts to buy. What are we going to look for? That's a topic next. We're going to talk about fitting results and some stuff we put together. All next on What's on My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here. This is why is it What's in My Drawers? Because it's what's in my drawers in the golf shop. And it's because old club fitters and club makers are tremendous pack rats, and I'm no different. So this is about what's in the drawers of the golf shop in order to help your scores go low. If you would, like, subscribe, hit that stuff across the bottom, and let others know so we can keep growing this subscriber count. We are always looking to improve. If you guys got any ideas, let us know so we can do some content and maybe talk about it here online. All righty. So let's go. I want to check one more thing before we get going here. Okay, it looks as if I am using the right microphone. Again, technology is not my friend. All righty, so what's going on? Well, number one, last minute golf gifts. So I went searching the internet last couple of days and I just plugged in last minute golf gifts, right? What is it that's out there? And I stayed away from websites that were single company because it would only be their stuff. So I went with Golf Digest and Golf Magazine, and there was another, and My Golf Spy. And the funny thing about that is almost every one of every one of these items was on each one of their lists, just different manufacturers of which one they either liked or were subscribed by or sponsored by, except for one. And it was this Max, is a black Max foldable push cart. And they're on all three. And what it is, it's a push cart, a three-wheel push cart, looks pretty neat and slick, and it folds up like, real thin. And they said it would fit into a bag. Now, they didn't say what kind of bag. They didn't say a golf bag. They didn't say a travel bag. They didn't say a luggage bag. They just said a bag. So I'm not sure, but if it looks like it articulated, easily a half a dozen times to get into something that probably something just slightly larger than a carry-on. It would fit into, say, like a small, medium luggage bag, and literally it was about this wide. So, I mean, if you're pretty frugal with your clothes, you're going to put that in there. I can't believe that it would weigh a whole lot if you're able to fold it that much. But then again, if you're locking in all the joints, that's going to be quite a bit more weight than as if it was just one solid piece of whatever material it was made out of. So what constitutes a last minute gift, right? What constitutes a last minute gift? Is it just because that's when you got it, or does it go by monies that you might have left over? Those are considerations that we have to take, right? And where are you going to get it? If you're a big purchaser on Amazonia, then yeah, you better start thinking about it now. Even with 2-day delivery or even 3-day delivery, things are getting backed up out there, right? And hell, we're members just like everybody else out there. But if you get to something that's really busy, you could find yourself falling short. So you want to be careful with that. So number one of the biggest things again was the push cart. Now, whether you use this one that folds up or if you like other ones, there's Click Gear. There is Sun Mountain, which is one of my favorites. There's a new one coming out this year. There is another one out there. And then there's the radio controlled ones that you can get that walk behind you. There's a lot of them out there. And, honestly, unless you're on a very mountainous type course or has something that has pretty severe undulations, I think that's the way to go. Less strain and stress on your body from carrying. And if you get the right ones, they don't take up a lot of room in the trunk. Some will if they don't fold down enough, but some will not. And you got 4-wheelers, you got 3-wheelers. It just depends on what you like. So you got to be fairly particular what fits your style. Now, some, they'll have a compartment to hold valuables, and Okay, but why not just put them in the bag? They could hold other things. Uh, you have places that hold golf balls, tees, pencils. There's one out there that that I saw in Sun Mountain. And a couple others have it. Little slots for your cell phone, so you can be looking at your cell phone as you're driving it away. And I'm just like, really? But then again, now we have, which would be another one, is those stat tracking softwares. You can buy that as a last minute gift. Some of them will come in a box and you can get a QR code and download it and have it in there so that there is something either in the stocking or underneath the tree in order for them to open up, as opposed to, hey, go to this website, I got you a little something, something. A little more personalization, so to speak. Some of them come with the little tabs that are on the bottom, like the Arcos. That might be something to look at. And then that way, that cart you just bought gets useful for being able to track that. Plus, they also have places to storage for refreshments and snacks and other essentials, maybe outerwear or outer gear in case it starts to rain. A lot of them have umbrella holders on them, which I agree with completely. You would be surprised that some of these umbrellas that have now UV protection in them, which here's another one, right? They have UV protection in them that so when you're in the middle of the summer, that it will block all that sun and it literally is cooler underneath there. And so it's a twofer, right? So you get to walk and push even in the hot, but you get to keep the sun off of you. And if you're worried about skin cancer like I am, that umbrella comes in real handy. So another one, the next one, although it's not very, it's not very seasonal, shall we say, or it's not one of those, hey, look, I got you an umbrella, huh? And then the whole room goes silent. But this one, again, the Sun Mountain one is a bigger umbrella. I believe it's a 54 inch. Comes with that additional lining on the inside, and most of their models now are all UV protective in that. Now I'm sure there's other ones out there, but that protection is what sets me into thinking that's a better one for everybody else. All right, couple more, and and we're all over the map on price, right? Those Arcos can cost quite a bit. Those push carts can, you can get some inexpensive ones, but you get what you pay for in the way of carts. That one I was telling you that folds up, I believe, retailed at $300. So you got to be, and those ones that are the ones that will follow you are even more. Now I did remember at the last PGA show that they had these. Where you would take your rear wheels off and it had an axle with a motor in the middle of it and turn it into a remote cart. So if you already had one that you really, really like, you could buy this remote axle, and turn it into a powered cart if you wanted to do that. And I believe it actually broke down when you needed it to. Don't quote me on that one, but I think that was one of the selling points. All right, so these are all accessories for getting you going. And the golf bag, right? Now, golf bag to me is kind of a personal thing. Unless you have said, I want this golf bag in this color with these markings on it or without these markings on it, what you get is a person with the greatest of intentions to give you something that you go, eh. It's a really nice bag, but maybe something that says U.S. Navy on it, or maybe it'll say your favorite company that you really support, or maybe none at all, right? And you want the right kind. The different kinds from bag, staff bags are cool, but they're not very, shall we say, they're not very conducive to walking unless you're getting paid like a caddy. They're cool as a display. I've got plenty. But the ones, the actual lighter cart bags have just about a half of an inch smaller opening with a lot more slots or a lot more dividers to protect your golf clubs. I think that's the way to go, right? Might even come with a bit of they call it a cooler. It's a place to keep things cool, but I wouldn't call it a cooler because you're not putting ice in it that I'm aware of. Some people might. But there's that. So on the other end of this, uh, last minute, and lately here I've been getting bombarded by it, but squares. the squares shoes, or any shoe for that matter. Golf had Adidas. Another one had an off-brand company I've never heard of before. Thought they were the greatest thing since sliced bread. Another one had Nike on there. It was a high top. I don't think I'm a fan of a high top golf shoe, but they had it, and I'm sure somebody out there will like it. But golf shoes, if you have somebody with a wide foot, I would tend to go with squares because the toe box is wider. If you're looking for somebody with style, probably the Adidas would be the way to go. And as long as you know the size and keep that receipt, you're in pretty good shape. All right, going around the other ones, and let's see where I'm at. Yeah, so the other ones would be the easy ones to get away with, and definitely last minute are gift certificates. Okay, gift certificates can take the form of many different things. I saw one that just really kind of caught my attention as a Top Golf gift certificate. If I was somebody to give me a gift certificate from there, I'd go and enjoy it. The places, if you can get there in just a bit of an off time when people aren't going crazy, you can go out there and have some fun with friends. They make some pretty decent snacks, and they have a couple of nice drinks. You can go out there and enjoy yourself playing golf meets darts meets bowling, and it's a unique opportunity. Outside that, maybe something for a fitting. Fitting is something that would, it's one size fits all kind of thing. And then the last bit is if you wanted to go to a golf store so that you could pick up your own items, such as a driver or a putter or a box of balls or something like that. Now, a couple other things, and then we'll move on. Um, the Another one, and it's easy to wrap, are golf balls, right? There's different golf balls out there. Different people like different ones. You can surprise your golfer with an upgraded version, right? Get them if they're playing what we call the performance tier lines, like Q stars and AVXs and ERCs and triads and all that stuff. Maybe surprise them with a tour level ball, like a staff model or a Z Star or a Chrome Soft or even a Pro V for that matter, and go from there and let them have some fun with some really fine golf balls, right? And then the last but not least, and Mrs. McGolf will laugh at me while I'm saying this, but a rangefinder. A rangefinder was another one that was on every single list, not the GPS watch, but the rangefinder. And they are different ones. There was a one called, I think it was Ping, not the company, but it was a different one. I'm a Blue Tees or a one of the original rangefinders out there. They're probably the best, and using those. The only reason why it came in last for me is because I've lost 3 in the last 3 years. So, and that's only because of my boneheadedness. Nothing more, nothing less. I have relegated myself to, if I ever get another one, it will be without a magnet. That was my downfall. I always put them on the cart and I walk out of there because I've been so used to pulling them out of the bag, looking at it, put it back in the bag. It's very useful out there. I get it and I enjoy that, but I totally 100% forget to pick it up off of there. And that's how I've lost 3 of them. And you'd be surprised how fast those things disappear. I didn't get a block away from the golf course and it already had magically nobody could find it. Okay. So it's one of those. So yes, I'm guilty of that. Okay. So there's that one. So, you're coming close. You're about 3 or 4 days away for not being able to make it. I wouldn't go as far as maybe the end of the week, depending on where some of this is coming from. But so while you're out there watching, listening, make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time so you're not in a panic. All right. So last bit of it, fittings. Did quite a few fittings this weekend. And what I came across was it was a kind of a theme of getting people in the right position in order to hit a much better golf ball. And so what I had this week were people that came to me with the hopes of playing better golf. They're golf enthusiasts. In fact, one of them was an eighth grader. He was 14, might have been 14, and this kid was nearly 6 foot tall, and just this big old guy, and just a really nice kid, very polite. You can tell mom and dad have given him instruction and did very well. And we'll start with him first. And he tells me he shoots to a 10 on a golf course I'm familiar with. It's shorter, but a lot of knolls that are on it. And he shows me this swing, and there is no way on this planet that that was a handicap of 10 swing. Everything was pulled to the right because he was a lefty, and it was pulled to the right, and there was this short backswing, short full swing. I said, "How long has it been since you've been hit a golf ball?" And there we go, right? Charlie, James E. Pepper Decanter. Uh, anyway, he was going through there, and I'm like, "Is this the way you normally do?" And he says, "Well, that's my miss." And I said, "Well, okay, how about not missing and let's throw it down the middle?" And I warn people, I warn kids and adults that when you say I want to play better golf and I'm doing it in a competitive nature, like playing amateur events or playing in high school or college, I tell them the style of the fitting changes, and they kind of give me that look. I said, what I do doesn't change, expectations change, and I expect better from them in order to give them the best that they can take with them. And it took, I bet I spent a good 30 to 45 minutes on and getting him into a setup, getting him into a reaching back, getting him into throwing his hands way out there in order to in order just to actually strike the ball anywhere other than the heel. And and the minute he started clearing himself and throwing his hands out, he immediately gained 40 yards. That's how poorly he was striking the ball beforehand. I didn't create this, I didn't create the next Tiger Woods. What I did is I create the next really good high school golfer, in that he was hitting stuff. Let's say he was just hitting an iron that might have gone 100 yards topped and then rolled another 40 yards because it had all this top spin, and to the point he was carrying it where it was finishing and then rolling out just maybe about 15. That's what we were looking at. Okay. Um, that's what we were trying to accomplish, and then getting him down the middle to where he was hitting fades and draws in order to be able to call his shot. And we got to that point, right? We got to that point. And once we started getting there, we hit on a set. And he was kind of he was a divot taker. And so we went with a slightly wider sole, and I was a Hot Metal Pro, and all of a sudden he's clearing through it. He's not taking this massive divot. He's still getting some ground, but he's not 3 and 4 inches behind the ball. He's right at the ball now. The club is sliding through, and he's hitting it very well. And then now, once we determined that was the right head, then it was time to search for the shaft. And what we did there is I gave him a 105, and the way that he was swinging was he was smooth at the top, but really aggressive into the middle, and then nice and easy at the outside. So I gave him a 105 S and just started mashing it. And then I gave him a lighter R, no joy. I gave him a heavier R, again, no joy. And then I said, okay, so we know we like that shaft. I gave him one more shot just to show him what we were doing. This was the educational part. And I gave him one of those like bladed looking clubs where it has a very thin sole. I said, hit this one. Oh, I really like this. I'm like, good. Let's see you hit it. And clunk, 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 clunk. And I was like, so you're only 25 yards shorter with this. Why? And he got to thinking, and it was because he was taking such a huge divot, it was hooking him up, and he couldn't get through the turf without losing either speed or quality of contact or all these different things. So we went back to the other one, and next thing you know, he's clearing it out. He's hitting it very, very well, and that's what we got. Now we went into the wedges, same thing. This time, he's like, oh, I want to be like Phil Mickelson. All right, all right, all right. I said, so show me what your 50-yard shot looks like, or show me your 80-yard shot. And what we ended up, long story short, we ended up with a high bounce wedge. And because of his tendency to get into it deep, wasn't anything fancy, just a high bounce wedge, and he got through it pretty decent. All right. Next one was just kind of the opposite. He's a righty and was a picker. And I'm like, so again, long story short, he was just the opposite. He liked the thinner sole. It got through pretty good. And we got to the wedges. I went from a 14-degree bounce or 12-degree bounce with the youngin to a 6 and 8-degree bounce for this guy that was wanting to just play golf better. And that was a lot of fun there too, because we worked on some grip, we worked on some turning in order to prevent the back from hurting so much, and it worked out very, very well. So both of them walked away hitting it further, straighter, which is really a lot more fun, and understanding what they needed, right? And so that was good. And the last one, a bit with the 8th grader, he had hands on him that were easily another inch longer than my fingers. He had huge, huge paws. And so we had to put him in a small jumbo max in order for them just to fit. So that was a good thing. All righty. Builds. Here's a good picture. Finally got out one. Mizuno Pro is rapidly becoming the number one. The Hot Metal Pro is becoming the number one iron as it fits a lot of people. And if you notice how the shape changes as it goes from the top of the set down to the bottom, very, very cool. I do like it this year because they actually have a gap wedge for each one of the sets, which was a huge mistake on their part on the previous model. This year, way better. And we put the Motus shafts, as you can see. This was for a very young, stronger guy. This is a 115S. The dude can come around. And then we went with the MCCs, the whites. He liked a white grip, so he got a white grip, and that's what he liked. And if you see all those irons there in the background, there's a lot of irons back there. 2 of those 3 sets are the ones that are going to Texas. They're going to Texas. All righty. Some fun things. This weekend marks the last item that we took out of my dad's house, and there it is. And that was all we had left. The house is empty. So that was a lot of work and a lot of mental anguish, but we got through it. Oh, on to some more happy stuff. We went and saw some Christmas lights at a place called Dogwood Pass. Dogwood Pass is a Wild West reenactment area, and I'm not going to bore you with tons of these things, but this is kind of what it looks like in one of the turns of the town. This place is really, really cool in that it really is old-timey, and they have tons and tons, and they have a really cool Christmas show, and that it involves the Grinch. That was a neat little. You can't go to uh, a western town and not have a baskets, and right next to it was a gun shop. And then there's Mrs. McGolf and there's Penny. They're in jail, which is probably where they needed to be. And so there it goes. Now I got one more thing for you guys before we start answering questions. In doing a little cleanup this weekend, I stumbled upon an old golf ball. So any of you guys that are old golf ball experts, check this out. It's a K28 Plus, and it's a number 4. I'm not even sure what it is, but it is a Wilson. And you can tell that's some old scribe right there. And the fact that the dimples are in line instead of in some sort of pattern leads me to believe it might be about a 70s golf ball, but I don't know. So if any of you guys know that one, hey, let me know, and that way we can get in there. All right, to the questions. Here we go. Charlie's back. Hey, buddy. Missed you on that one. All righty, so here we go. Wetting the palate. What are the weight differences between the Dynapower Forge head and the CB heads? Virtually nothing. They're very much on the same weight, Charlie. It's just that the Dyna Forged has the capability of moving a lot of the weight around, meaning that because of that the extra wide sole and that there's a piece on the bottom. It gives the sensation of being heavier on the bottom, where the CB is a uh, forged single billet forged head, and it's spread around the outside and perimeter weighted for more of that. And so it for the same weight, it may give the impression that it's lighter, and that's where we're at. And so if you had that CB with a mid 100 shaft, tour velvet grip, and it was a standard length around a D2, D3, that seems to be the standard anymore. Emmanuel, what do you say, sir? Hello, Jim and Ron, the rest of them. Monday evening qualifiers. I like that one. That might be a good show. The Monday evening qualifier. I was asked to put a softer shafts in a set of wedges. The irons are Nippon Pro 95S's. Would lighter be softer or a different profile? Huh. Let me think about this one. I was asked to put a softer shafts in a set of wedges, and the irons are there. So two things, Emmanuel. Number one, if you wanted to be softer but you wanted to maintain the same weight, I would actually consider the 950 GHs. All right, the 950 GHs. And the reason being is it is literally a softer profile than the NS Pros. Okay, that's the green one, right? The Neos. I'm going to go with the Neos. If that's what you're talking about, NS Pros. Uh, if the NS Pros you're talking about is the 950 GHs, then we got a problem. But if you had the Neo 95s and then you wanted something softer, then the 950 GHs is where I would go. It is the same weight with a softer profile. Now, if they like that particular profile, well, actually, there could be three. If they like the way that it feels in their wedges, you could just use that wedge or the final wedge shaft or even the 9-iron wedge shaft, which I think is the same in that category, and actually just put it in the wedge, because the added weight going from a pitching wedge to, say, a sand wedge of any kind of traditional sand wedge will make it play softer by design, right? That extra weight will make it play softer just because of weight. All right. And then the very last one is if you said, no, I want to put in a wedge shaft that plays a little softer anyway, and you want to stay in the Neo kind of time frame, then you have those 850s, the 85S's, I guess would be the same chord. The 850s, and I would probably use a stiff flex because they do play soft. So you got three ideas right there. Okay. Greetings all from John Cherry. How are you? I don't think lighter would be softer. And if you're in the Neo, I've got them up there. I'm looking at them right now. They do play softer, but they're because again, it's the same tradition as graphite. There's less stuff there, so it'd have to be either very wide in the butt section in order to have that rigidity, or if you did the same thing and you put in the same profile, it would just be a tad softer. Okay, but as far as wedges go, I would actually change the profile on if you really wanted something softer and we didn't want to mess with weight. I would go the GHs. Okay. Brad Ball, what do you say? He made it back. Good deal. Oh, look at that, Charlie. Look at that. Robin said she missed you last week. Travis, I tell my wife to give me the same thing every year at Christmas, a dozen Pro Vs, and you can't go wrong. Well, Pro V is the number one golf ball that's out there, to be sure. They tell you every chance they get. And it is a good golf ball, right? It is a very good golf ball. And If that's what you prefer, then more power to you, man. I think they're a good golf ball. If somebody gave me some Pro Vs, being a Callaway guy, would I turn them down? Absolutely not. I'd take them and run. Trey says, "Hi, Robin. I had a job. I had to be at midnight. I felt like I was back on mid watch." Did you get some mid rats before you went out there, Charlie? That's the most important part of that. Phil K from Austin. What do you say? Hey, say happy Monday from Austin. My drinking group that plays golf had a cold, wet round Saturday. Male pawning. No doubt. Oh, so hey, the weather here turned, right? It went from it being in the 20s the last 2 days. Sunday was just really nice. It almost made it to 60. And yesterday or today was overcast. Started rain. It was raining when I got up this morning, and it tapered off. And when I got out in the afternoon, it is blue skies, ready to go, mid 50s, I believe, or low 50s, getting ready to come down. But the minute that the light bulb in the sky decides to go down, starts getting chilly. In fact, we were out last night. We were just watching the sun come down. I had one of the heaters going, and as we were wrapping presents, doing all kinds of stuff outside, and it got to looking like that, and one of the heaters ran out of gas, and you knew it immediately that happened. So you got to kind of watch yourself. So it's another trip to the propane station to go get me another one. Wayne Nothing, how do you say, sir? How are you? Robin is talking back. There we go. Phil K. I have an old set of Mizuno T-Zoids. I'm going to assume they're T-Zoids and not I-Zoids. That I'm refurbishing with some Project X Blackout LZs. Nice. Those are nice. Hosel depth range from 97 to any ideas how they should be? Chances are, Phil, they're all probably meant to be about 1.25. Okay, that's the typical depth for a hosel, even for Mizuno. Now, the only time that I think that they might have done where they've had a variable thing, but you're talking about 1/4 inch. That's pretty substantial. I would look at a couple of things. Number one, make sure all the junk is cleaned out. Those guys were infamous for putting a whole bunch of glue. Most manufacturers will put a whole bunch of glue actually in the hosel, and then we'll put the without putting a one of those blue plastic plugs like TaylorMade would use, puts it down in there, and it squeezes up, and most of it goes inside the shaft. But there's always that big hunk at the bottom if you don't seat it. So there very well may be some junk in the bottom, and a small drill, not one to try and get it all at once. Go with a smaller drill, say about a 3/16 or even maybe an eighth. Run it in there and just kind of work it around so that you can, like you're etching the bottom of the hosel, and see if anything breaks loose. If not, then I would say it was on a club that would want you to get a little more height. And I would imagine it would probably be in the upper end of the set in order to make that kick move just a little bit more. The other thing I would consider is, I know they're taper tipped. What in the day, what you did is you trim it 1/4 inch and try and shove it in there further. But we're talking taper tip, that shouldn't work. I also check to see whether or not, if you got a lot of waggle in the 0.97, trim that thing off. Trim that thing off about that much, and then put it in there to make sure it's getting in there firm or solid, and then that way, what you'll have done is you've compensated for a shallow hosel by trimming it up a little bit. Then you'll be good to go. All righty. How about those remote control? Yes, those things are neat. Where those things you just put a thing on your pocket, and it just follows you around. You can tell it how far back to stay, or I don't know how you make it come up, other than maybe pressing a button and telling it to come up. Certainly, it would be very cool because it wouldn't want to run away from you like you see the ones where people have uh, where they let it go down a hill and it starts going, it starts getting away from them. They're chasing after it. That's not a good thing. Here we go. Peter's back. What do you say? He's in Myrtle Beach. Golf and hand and golf ball warmers and recharge ones too. Okay, I'm digging that. You notice how I didn't say speakers? Speakers were on that list too. I don't know if I'm a big speaker guy. I like being able to talk with people at the course or the people that we're golfing with. Uh, I don't mind the speakers so much as long as you keep it within the confines of your cart. I don't need to hear you from the other end of the other side of the golf world. Hey, there's Wayne. Anything golf is good for me, as stated. Pro Vs can't go wrong. You're right there. Again, they're pretty good. Charlie says a good set of rain gear. Now I am a believer in that. Uh, a good set of outerwear can make all the difference, right? The number one out there, I believe, is called Galway Bay, and obviously that's Irish. And Galway Bay was a huge fishing community, and I imagine they got it from that. And it's a lot of Gore-Tex, so it's not super duper heavy. I just don't know how flexible it is because I've seen them, I've just never seen them in person. And they have that appearance of being stiff, but they very much a very high tech outer gear. Another one, another couple that do it, in my opinion, very well. Again, Sun Mountain does an outerwear that is also Gore-Tex, so you don't get, super sweaty even when the temperatures, get in that 40, 50 range and you start covering yourself up because it's getting ready to rain, that spring or fall time frame. And then one that might be a surprise, but Callaway. Callaway has a pretty decent outerwear. And as far as wind blocking, that kind of stuff, they do pretty good. Steven from Tennessee, good deal. Have to love winter golf, Saturday 2.5 hour delay. Ooh, that's not very good. No warm up, shot a 77. Well, Steven, you're the man. Sunday teed off on time, shot 85 on 25-mile-an-hour winds. Aha. So it sounds like you need to walk up there, kind of give a couple of these, and go get it. All right. We got something here, CHS baseball. I don't know what that is, but okay. And Charlie's saying thumbs up to everybody. And if you would, hey, give the video a like, or a thumbs up. Do a subscription if you haven't. It'll be we'd appreciate it. All right. Were those high tops Michael Jordans? Well, no, they weren't. It had this gray, and you would like this, it had a haze gray appearance to it, Charlie. It was a not a matte finish, but I would say a satin finished leather with one of those Velcro straps that comes around it to cinch it up. I can only imagine it had one of those things that you tighten and it tightens up and then that finishes it up. I'm guessing. The thing that caught me by surprise on that, they had it on a hard surface, right? A hard surface, so that you could see all the spikes that were coming off of it. And right in the ball of the feet and the heel, it seemed like there was a little bit more there than just spikes to help keep you attached to the ground. And then the toe bent up quite a bit, and it was literally about that much off of the ground. So, I imagine maybe that was more for walking than it was for golfing. But yeah, I'm not doing high tops. Okay, Manuel says he buys his partner's new golf towels because they never wash theirs, and get 2 bottles of wine that their wives like. Oh, and there's an idea. Yeah, that's an idea. Krister's in from Sweden. Hope all is well, he says. And hello, Jim and Robin. Hello to you too. I didn't see anything in particular on your feed this week, Krister. I saw where you were bombing that driver of yours, though. Holy smokes! And then that you were having you weren't quite as sharp with the putter like that yes putter that you had. You were doing good, but the other one was better. And whatever that last one that you had, I want Krister's putting putting feel stroke whatever they call that because he's on top of it. And there's Charlie saying hello back. There, Krister, any new golf clubs this week? Yeah, that's kind of where we're getting. He's got to be. Let's see. He's got wedges, he's got irons, and he's got a driver. And he was talking about fairway woods last, so we'll probably hear on that one. Emmanuel, so they get a new towel every Christmas. They ought to be pretty crusty if they don't wash them for a whole year. They stand up on their own, buddy. You know where that's at. You know what I'm talking about. Jack King says it's a warm 50 in Lombard, Illinois. It's going to get cold soon. I'm trying to figure out. I was talking with Miss McGolf when it was to get cold. I thought it was tomorrow. I got no, it's not going to get cold tomorrow. So I don't know when, but I'm sure it'll be blustery. There's a good Christmas word, blustery. No, he's going to wait until next year when the Mini Driver and the Hybrid from Titleist are released. Good for you, man. Hey, look at that. Mrs. McGolf says it's 54 and she's on the back porch watching live stream. Good for her. Yeah, the new release. Did you get a different set of irons recently? I think he's still in those Titleist. That was he get? It was a combo set, I think. 150s and 100s. Oh, here he is, right here. Hold on. Yes, got a combo with T150. Oh, he got a 4 iron. I don't know if I'd call that's more driving ironish, but yeah. And a T100 and SM wedges. Nice. SM10s. Nice. Very good. And Wedgeworks are doing something with it. Okay. And Kent was on. See, that's what we were thinking about you, Charlie, yesterday or last time. Kent was all over this, and we had no Charlie. So maybe he's making it even. I like that. You notice I'm back to the. I got that going on. That's cool. And it says local fitter has ordered a Sam Putt lab, so they'll have their lab putters in their fitting line. All right. Well, now you can see what the. Just take your putt out with them and just go there and putt with a putt out and let them take some parameters on you so that they can use that on everybody else as a baseline. Steven says, everyone hit that like button. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate that. Robin is laughing, saying thank you. John Cherry, is there a tool made that helps sharpen grooves of an iron and wedge? There are. And funny enough, they're called groove sharpeners. I do not like them. Sam, I am. So what it is, John, is a whole setup of these things is it's you get what's called a nest. And basically it's a block. It's a block, right? And what you do is you nest the golf club in there and it holds on to it. And then what you get is this handle that looks like a giant screwdriver, and at the bottom of the giant screwdriver is an angle. And that is a very hard carbide. And you get in there and you just keep dragging until you get what you're looking for. And that's how you do that. Okay. That's how you do that. Now, what's going to happen is you'll run the risk of making the irons illegal. If your golfer is not playing in any tournaments ever in their life, then it's not a big deal. But what it does is and you got to be careful because when it starts scraping, you'll get a raised edge on both the top and the bottom of the groove, and you'll have to kind of file that away a little bit in order to prevent it from totally cutting up golf balls. So you got to kind of watch that. Now there is one more item out there that allow you to cut them, and it is a little diamond saw about the size of a dime. All right, and it's a saw. It can't be that much. It can't be that big, and it's on a belt-driven, articulated arm, and you just take it and you set it right in the groove and you pull it straight back. There is nothing automated about any of these things. And you get them and you pull them back, and you got to be very, very careful and delicate. Otherwise, you could literally cut right into another groove. So it takes some practice. I watched a guy at GolfWorks do it, and the dude looked like he was grown up with the thing, and just and because it was square on the bottom of this blade, it didn't create a really bad illegal setup. Although square bottoms, we know square grooves are not right, but you could it made them appear better, I think. All right, us IT guys are actually useful now and again. There you go. Oh, there we go. I'm telling you what, man, this whole idea of these computers, woof. I think I've had this one here has been long enough. It's starting to blink at me. I think that's telling me it's time. Old-timey town with nips of bourbon here and there. Well, I thought about taking one in with me. I figured we're in a Wild West town. What's not with one of those little containers that you could put right in there? I don't have one, so it never came out. But I can tell you what, they did make a mean fried Oreo cookie. And hot chocolate. That was pretty good. There we go, Charlie. Herman, what do you say, bud? Really struggling with my iron play. I traded my Dynapower Forge for Callaway AI 300 irons. Well, I'm not going to say you didn't trade up, because I think the 300 is a really good iron. I like the Dynaforge, don't get me wrong. But the AI 300, if I was to make a switch, that's where I would go. No matter. Pardon me. That'd be the one that I pick, right? If not that one, then the Mizuno Pro. But that's a good pick, bud. All righty, Dennis Neff. 70s sound like the right for the K28 balls. I'm pretty sure I played those as a kid. Okay, well, it's a heck of a guess. Sometimes those things, like you find those Arnold Palmer balls, and you're like, oh, wow, and you find out how old they are, and you're like, wow. Robin says, hi. High on Saturday was 38, frost delay preventing tee off until 10:30. Well, Saturday, I thought I was going to sneeze again. Saturday, there's no way we could have done it. It was, I don't know if it even got out of the 40s. Man, it says, thank you for the options. Really good stuff. Well, you're more than welcome, bud. High of 41, no frost delay. Well, dude, that's that northeastern stuff. That's the reason why you're tougher than I am. Phil K says, .90 might be, I think the .97 might be club weight. It's shiny. Club weight. Well, if it's only, you got to think about that one. If you're talking about hosel depth and you go from 1 1/4 to just shy of 1 inch, that's a lot in the way of golf. So you want to make sure of your depth. If nothing else, you could take the end of one of these guys, if it was long enough, and put it in there, and then just put your thumb out there as a measuring, then put it on a ruler, and then you'll know. All right. Well, let's see. Let's put this over. There we go. That's better. All right. So definitely want to start off the conversation with you about parallel shafts, shaft making. I believe Mitchell definitely covered it well in school in depth, but when I watch others build, they take shortcuts. All right. Send me an email, bub. Or ask here. Josh Foltz. Hello, Jim and Robin. New mirror build is top notch per usual. I can't find the broken ferrule. All right. This is the gentleman we made the mirrors for. And I got to tell you, Josh, those are really cool looking irons. I didn't, at first I really didn't. I saw them, I was like, somebody trying to be funny. But the more I researched them, and the more I looked at them, it was pretty cool. I really did like it. And although in the video I said I only had to remount one, actually I had to remount three. But I didn't have to go as far. I only had to really go about quarter of an inch. It really wasn't much. It was just to allow, I think the opening of the spin milling, it must get smaller at when it's all done. I don't know. But anyway, once I did that, right in there, nice and solid. And the coloring on those, I like the red. I like the red a lot better than the Steeler colors, to be sure, but it turned out really well. And anyway, the broken one's on the 5. All right. Well, see the shallow depth on the 4-iron. That's what we were talking about, right? If you made the shallower, uh, if you made it shallow. Oh, you were talking about the 9.7 shiny being a shaft weight. Oh, that's always a thing. Don't be afraid to hit it with a little bit of heat on the inside and on the outside to loosen it up, and then hit it with a drill. That means you've got a lead weight, and hit it with that 3/16 drill right down the middle. And every once in a while, you just break it loose, and it'll come right back out. But anyway, the shallow one, the 4-iron, that makes more sense to help you get with a little bit of height. But I like the idea of the thing that's a tip weight, and I would try my best to drill that out first and get an actual tip insertion prior to doing anything else. Glad you received them. Thank you for your repeat business. No problem. Again, I echo Robin's thank you, Josh. It's been a real hoot. Andrew, happy holidays and hope all is well. It is, Andrew. Thank you for the wish, and same to you guys. Mr. Three Putt from Denton, Texas. He loves the show. I'm glad you like it. Thank you much. And he's at happy holidays. John Lamb. What's John Lamb got to say? I want to see this new thing. Has he got something new? He's always got these new pictures on there. All right. Would like a set of old retro knit head covers so I can wash all the range dirt off of them along with my towels. Eduardo. Yeah. The new I like, I can go old school with those and be happy with that. That would be kind of cool. Get that little bit of an elastic to go over the head or something along that lines. That'd be neat. AFTCO AFTCO makes a great wind resistant hoodie for fishing. Works great for golfing. There you go. I think that's how what's the frog one? There's a name with a frog and a frog, Frogger, not Frogger, might be a Frogger. They were big time with the fishing thing, and they kind of did a crossover in golf, but I haven't heard much from them before since then. RSG, he's my man from St. Louis. How's it going? Like the yeah, like the Santa graphic. Why is Christmas just like your job? You do all the work, and the fat guy in the suit shows up once a year and gets all the credit. No doubt. Then you got the fat guy over here doing all the work. Herman says hello, Robin. Robin says hello back. And Peter says he likes Costco golf gloves. One day I've been into a Costco once, and it was up in Wisconsin, just right over the line from Illinois. And we didn't have a lot of time, so we didn't kind of get a chance to go over and see all the really cool stuff. But that's my only time being at Costco. In this neck of the woods, the Sam's Club is the key, and they're nothing like a Costco as far as holding that kind of stuff. There is one in Columbus, which is about an hour away. Maybe one day we'll have to go in there and take a look. All right. Josh says Sant is having his build me a lab Oz. All right. That Oz one is pretty cool. It's a little bit out of my league, but I do like it. I like the look of it, and I like the taller version of it too. I think it's neat. Oh, John said that already. They're pretty nasty, Charlie. Don't get me started on their gloves. Well, there you go. Maybe it might be a glove thing. If Krister does that well with that yes putter, it doesn't sound like he needs a lab one. Charlie, if you ever seen his feed, he gets out there in the middle of his, I'm assuming it's his living room, and he has uh, that really cool putting mat, and he puts the putt out on it, and I don't know how far away it is, but it's far enough, and he's a machine, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, just popping it in there. And he gets this other putter in there, and he go 1, 2, miss one, 1, 2, miss one. And I mean, he's not missing it by much, but the other one, he had that rhythm. He had that rhythm and that touch going. And that yes putter, whatever that balance was, it was working for him. Thank you. I need to blow my nose now. Thanks. Okay, Krister's going to give us some numbers here. He's got almost a 114 club head speed. Hey, that's right at the bottom end of the tour, bud. Ball speed 168. If you do the math, I don't know what that is. Launch 15, spin 225. You're right on the money. In fact, you're probably on the low end. It's awesome. 295 carry, 314 roll. You can't get any better than that, bud. Well done. Yeah, he is. If you've seen him hit it, he still has that over the top move, but it doesn't look like he's swinging that hard, which is always the fun part. Phil says, thanks for the advice. I did use a measurement on the caliper. Yeah, once you said shiny, the bell came on. And it might be a tip weight. And I throw some heat to it to kind of loosen it up, and then put a drill into it and try and grab it with that drill. And what it'll do is it'll spin it around and pull it out. If not, the easiest way to do it is start with that one, go all the way to the bottom until you can't go any further, and then start using progressively bigger ones. And eventually what will happen, one of them will let go and you'll get them all. It's called step drilling. Krister says, with very dry fairways, maybe it could roll out to 400. There you go. There we go. I want to have a consistency over 300 yards carry, at least in TrackMan. Outside, the other variables are in play, like wind and heat. Yep. Dude, if you hit 295 on that stuff, unless there's a whole bunch of bombers in your area, you should be, this ought to be even from some longer courses, 295, you're not going to be stressed with another long club unless you're really trying to get in two on a par 5. Yep. That's why they call it golf. Joe Graham loves his Mizunos I fit him for. It was a great year. Looking to get a driver dialed in. Well, good deal. That's 2 people that are happy. You can't be that. I see what's coming up. Yes, I know. Does cart path count? Hey, you know what? They don't say they don't grade you on how you get there, Krister. They just want the number. So even you see those guys get holes in ones from bouncing stuff off of rocks and it comes on in, still counts as a 1. Josh just went and looked at the 5-iron. He still can't tell. Well done. That's pretty good. I'm glad you can't find it. Like I said, those things are the way that those ferrules are built, they use those what they call beauty rings, and they're rings of colors. And those rings of colors, they get glued together and then they get shaped into a ferrule. and that's what. So that's what the final product is what you guys see. And it used to be a common thing even back in the day because everything was just a solid black or a solid white because they would come in white, or like rubber is typically white, and they put that black on it. And then they started putting the chrome ring on it or the white ring, or and then we used to I still to this day I got a plastic box of rings that I can put on top, and then I just have to shave them down. I haven't had to do that in, good golly, I have no idea. It's been ages since I've had to do anything like that, and trying to repair a ferrule of all things, or even put on something special for somebody that asked for something. Now that with you have BB&F and you have, there's another one out there out of Illinois. They do a pretty good job too, and they got all those colors and now even Golfworks is getting into it. They got those double chromes that are really wide. It's kind of a unique look. Some other double chromes, some colored rings. Pretty neat, right? Pretty neat. Cart path. You're damn right. The cart path always counts. You just got to watch that golf ball. Frog Tog. That is exactly right, Phil. Frog Togs. Well done. Thank you. All righty. And RS says, I have a Sutherland Gore-Tex golf suit, wind resistant, would highly recommend. Sutherland, that's another good one. Sunderland, not Sutherland, Sunderland. Yeah, that's a good one. I like those too. Those are really nice. I have to go because I'm a bigger guy. Um, and that's the reason why the Sun Mountain, I pretty much stress out the Sun Mountain I take it to the very end, but the Callaway ones for the same size are a little more roomy for me. And the thing that you got to watch out for, I never thought it was a thing until I happened, is that some of those materials, you hear that like two pieces of poly getting together, you hear that zzz, 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 and it becomes a thing only because, do I care? No, I don't care. But I saw it on a broadcast when they were playing in the Open and they had to break this thing out, and they were like, "It makes this sound when I swing," and I'm like, "Dude, you were in a crowd of 100 people, all jabberjawing around, and you're worried about a zzz on a swing?" And sure enough, I heard it, and it just bothered me the entire round because it got in my head, and I was like, "Ugh." But then you get over it, and it's all done. Seen pics of the new Wilson driver come out. They are extraordinarily nice, aren't they? The bottoms, they Wilson is starting to make a push into the driver category, ladies and gents. I would not be surprised if we didn't see some more, because this last time, if you looked at a lot of the YouTubers are out there, they were hitting this thing as far as they were hitting anything else out there, and as in control. And they were like, "Yeah, I really like this," and all of it. And but I could have told you beyond a shadow of a doubt that it would never land in any one of their bags, only because it wasn't cool on YouTube. And then they go, "Well, I broke the face, and I broke this, and I broke that." No, they didn't. Now, a couple of them may have catched some faces, like Peter Finch, because that dude was pouring on some steam there towards the end. But knowing full well, if they thought for a minute they could see that in that guy's bag, I guarantee you Wilson would have hooked him right up. All righty, last one. Cart path. There's nothing wrong with using the natural asphalt on the course for extra yardage. I agree completely. I agree completely. Uh-oh. Richie Jennings says, "Go Wilson." You know what? I expect good things. I saw the Wilson Dyna Power setup. It looks good. I think we're going to see a departure from the power holes for something a little bit more traditional, or even a little more technology, and we'll see that fall itself into the following year. So in about 2 years, I fully suspect that we're going to see some really cool stuff come out of these guys. And I hope, and I think that they're even allowing don't quote me on this one, but I think that their 3 wood is also going to be adjustable, like it wasn't this last year, but it will be going forward. All right. Damn right they help. If they, do you think I would care if I got a hole in one from bouncing one off the rocks? I would tell everybody how that happened. No doubt. Richie Jennings says, "Hi, Jim Robin. How are you?" All righty. So, guys, here's the deal. Last minute Christmas shopping. If you have access to a golf shop or a golf store, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Get with the golfer once, get with the golf what fits your budget, right? If not, if you're really unsure of a size or something, a gift card is certainly to fit. Whether you get one from a store, you get one from us, whatever, right? And that's where it's at. And I will put in a little plug. We still have hats, and we still have the divot tools that have the McGolf logo on it. If you're interested, give Miss McGolf a note, and she will tell you the cost, and we can get them out to you as fast as we can. As far as pieces, parts, you can't go wrong with golf balls. You can't go wrong with rangefinders. You can't go wrong with, you know, the teaser stocking stuffers. I wouldn't call those last minute gifts because we're talking about real gifts, right? I would say that's a consumable. But those are the big ones, and maybe even shoes. That would be even a really cool one. And if you're looking at the accessories and anything that surrounds the golf club, from head covers to golf bags to push carts to any of that kind of stuff, and you should be good to go. All righty, what do we got here? And then we're almost on our way. Crossfield released a new Cobra DS Adapt a little early. The settings on this thing are insane. 33 settings. I don't even know how you get 33 settings on this thing. So a little bit before the embargo date, I see. 33 settings, Charlie. That would mean that in a 360-degree thing that there's a setting almost every 2 degrees. And oh, they have a cog sleeve now. That'd be interesting. So that means now they have a cog sleeve, so they either have 16 settings and 16 on the turn, and then 2 cog settings is probably what you're going to get. So anyway, back to it. Take the time, make sure you plan right, get something that the people will like, and then that way the golfer gets a good use out of it. We have enjoyment, and that's really what it's all about, right? Enjoying the game of golf as we play it. As always, guys, I appreciate the fact that you guys are watching me from afar and asking me questions, and we're getting through it. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, let's see your scores go low.